This is part 2 of the AWANI AI Roundtable. Part 1 is available at Astro Awani's website.
Circle back to journalism here. Having all these problems that we've shared, that we've mentioned so far about short attention spans, on what was mentioned just now, that some, not just young people, but everyone, with the advent of AI, is becoming more gullible because I just want to see what I want to see, I want to read what I want to read, and once ChatGPT or whatever AI generated content churns that content, I will believe it 100%. That includes news as well, which is really, really alarming. I want to get someone from the newsroom, and I was told that Razak from the Star has indeed championed AI at the Star and has won awards as well. Razak, there's a microphone for you. So seeing all these challenges, how do you think the newsroom not just should adapt to survive, but to continue to thrive?
Okay. Firstly, I just want to thank Awani for inviting me, and I think it's very important for any news organization to champion Gen Z and ask this question: what is their role? Because it brings me to my point. When all throughout this morning, I'm trying to figure out what are the lessons for me that I can learn from this session. And I realized a few things from all the comments, especially profs, both of you. In trying to navigate this from the news perspective, I realized that actually some things stay the same and some things are always changing. You have to know the difference. So for me, for somebody in the news industry, when we say some things stay the same, what I mean is core skills. We keep mentioning things like critical thinking, soft skills. I think this is very important regardless of whether you're Gen Z, Alpha, Boomer. If you have this, I think you're in good shape to navigate. A good example is using AI in the newsroom. I think one of the important things that journalists must have when they're using AI that will decide whether they make good use or not is critical thinking skills, because when it comes to AI, it's how good you prompt, like prompt engineering, right? If you don't prompt it well, you're going to get very bad output. If you can prompt, if you know how to prompt, then you can get good stuff. And the ability to prompt is derived from, are you critically thinking or not? So that is a skill that is not decided by, I think, not affected by AI, but is more dependent on our education system. Did we come out from school as thinking individuals, critical thinking, questioning things? So that's one. So the other thing is about how things always change. I'm quite scared because the Gen Z representative mentioned about if you're worried about us, you have to realize that Gen Alpha is coming. And indeed, here we are trying to figure out how do we survive and make sure that Gen Z still reads our product. And I just realized that, in the next few years, we're going to have another generation, we have to cater to. And it's actually, I was told that they'll be entering universities in the next 5-6 years. So this is my point. In some aspects, the only constant is change. So get used to it. So for me, I've been disrupted twice. I work for a newspaper organization, and like all newspapers, first we got disrupted by social media, who took away all our advertising revenue. And now we are getting disrupted by AI, because with generative AI, nobody is clicking, or fewer people are clicking on our news. So I think that's the key takeaway. We in the industry must realize that some things change, some things stay the same. So if you can tell which
disruption have you found harder, the first or the second one, the current one?
I think the first one is harder because we spent many years being affected by it. The second one, we don't know yet. is it really going to, will it be the nail in the coffin, so to speak? Or is it just something that we've already learned from the first disruption, so maybe we've learned that how to survive and adapt better, you know? So in other words, I think it's about evolving. You like it or not, you have to evolve, or else you won't survive. The days when people could have this, be in their comfort zone, that's well and truly over, yeah. Yeah.
I think it's very interesting because, yeah, you mentioned that before we could even blink, now Gen Alpha is up and coming. And then we got Skibidi and Tung Tung Sahur, and I got my kids watching that crap as well. So, but the point is that it comes back to the short attention span, because people look, especially younger people, look for instant gratification now. And I think that's still fine if it's leisurely content or entertainment. You want to look for instant gratification, your 10-second videos, etc. But it's really problematic and worrying when it comes to news, because then you demand that news be 5 seconds as well, 7 seconds as well, and which will not do justice, obviously, to journalism, and also will not paint a clear picture, because people are quite lazy to think. Can I get one more? Can I get Boss Ashwat to weigh in on this? Actually, long time coming already. So how has the newsroom adapted so far to all these things, instant gratification, short attention span, etc., in the age of AI, with so many things still uncertain in the years ahead?
Thank you, Lukman. I guess what we have experienced throughout our 18 years, 17 plus years journey as Astro Awani, social media really helped us in terms of putting the brand of Astro Awani where it should be. And we really enjoy the democratization of information because of the influx of social media platforms. And the positive side of it, the best part of it, in which we could really go straight and have a proper conversation with our own audience through social media. And yes, in a hyper-connected world, that is the positive side of it. And this is the negative side of it, in which, I guess, on the matter of strengthening, what matters for media or newsroom at large is the trust. Did you manage to get the trust from the society itself as a journalist, as a media personnel? So it goes back to the fundamental of how or what is the best way to rebuild trust, or managing distrust rather, among the society. In a hyper-connected world, where misinformation, disinformation, and trust deteriorating, let alone, you know, I was told there are numbers of politicians here in this room. That's the least job, by the way, least trusted jobs among the society, not just in Malaysia, but across the globe. But it's also impacted in terms of journalism, because intertwined, the fourth estate as well as the whole lots of the system bernegara dan bermasyarakat. And come back to that, and how do we build or rebuild trust, is it has to be hyper-local. You really need to be on ground. It means you have a proper conversation with each and every individual member of the humankind, of human race. And that's how you build trust, strengthening the trust of whatever Astro Awani or you yourself as journalists, we are content creators at the end of the day. For example, like, you know, just a matter of form. Oh, they say that, you know, people don't, audience at large don't really listen to talk shows anymore because it's a long form. Oh, now you listen to podcasts. Isn't that the same, podcasts and talk shows? You know, it's just a matter of form. And now, because of democratization of information has gone at certain, I would rather say 15 years. And now we have AI to really exacerbate this, the whole magnitude and the velocity of technological advancement. It goes back to the question, how do we really forward the human development? That is our role, to bridge the gap. Do I have the answer? I don't. Hence why we have a lot of roundtables and get everyone together and start to address the gaps and start to understand what is the real problem with real people that needs a real solution here. And goes back to the fundamental of what is AI. AI is just a tool So that's how we approach the use of AI in the newsroom. Because at the end of the day, how we put several scenario planning in the next 5 years. Now, say, for example, we are living in 2030. How do we imagine, without a proper structure of responding and adapting to AI in terms of strengthening human capacity, the question here, what's going to happen to the talent? So we're going to have a crisis of talent. What happened to our production cameraman crew, as well as the production group here? Switcher, that will be overtaken by robots. Now we're talking about human development. Each and every one of them, how are they going to upskill? The word upskilling is really there. But as human being at a certain age, generational factor comes in, whether how adaptive you are in terms of, pivoting what you have been doing all this while throughout 30 years of your career and suddenly pivoting and asking us to do something else. So that is human. So approach this AI with strengthening human approach to it, or human development strategy and tactics has to be done somewhere. I think there's no magic wand to actually really asking, say, for example, our director, Abang K, for instance, head of production, to pivot. Say, okay, Mr. K, now is the time for you to change your job. Now you have to be journalist. It's not that easy as 1, 2, 3, yeah? So he has been doing the same thing over and over again, been spanning with the same career path for the past 30 years. So, now, how do we approach? It goes back to the fundamental of human development and strategy and tactics on how to strengthen that human capacity. And approach this with full underlying philosophy of humanity at large, strengthening humanity. I think that is a fundamental on where we are at this point in time, because we don't have the answer in terms of AI, but we enjoy the ride. We enjoy social media, but social media kills in terms of advertising. It goes back to the fundamental what Dr. Gaya has said, in which it's just a player among the tech power. And now we have at the same time, it goes along with the line of geopolitical tensions, whether this belongs to DeepSeek, whether this belongs to ChatGPT. It's a contestation between rivalry of US and China. And we as Malaysia, how do we strike this balance and remain stubborn to stay neutral at the same time? So a lot of things in common. I think we address and try to unpack one by one by looking into journalism per se. I think overall in terms of use case of AI, it's good. But question here, how do we prepare our society even further, not just Gen Z and our generation millennials, as well as Gen X and baby boomers, but to close that gap and really advancing the human development is another.
Yeah, that's going to take some time and effort, no doubt. But we also have the quick wins, right? We have things like disclosing AI use in your articles or whatever content. It's funny because I once did, I wouldn't say an academic paper. I had 10 weeks, so it was barely an academic paper. So I did some research about AI, and I interviewed a bunch of people in the UK, news outlets in the UK, and one of them was the Financial Times. And the Financial Times said that our problem is not really infrastructure, funding, etc., because we have all that. Our problem is that we are seen as, our content is seen as exclusive because we have a paywall. You have to pay to get our content. And we've done some surveys, we've done some studies, and people's perception is that once you put the AI label on it, it no longer feels exclusive. It feels generic. So this is a problem even for news content that you do not pay for, what more that you do pay for. So people, to use a colloquial simple term like T20, they read all this Financial Times and say, I'm paying good money and I don't want AI-generated content. So to start with, can I get anyone to answer, is an AI label off-putting for you to read a particular piece of news article? Is it? Everyone okay with it? An AI label AI generated content or content made with the assistance of AI. Will that change your perception?
Just a quick comment. I think the label has to tell me what it was used for, and if possible, what companies they use. I don't know. Maybe that's going a bit too far, but some more information besides this is assisted with AI would help, I think.
What are the examples of you being okay, how AI helped produce your content you're okay with and what you're not okay with?
I think it also depends on the content, honestly. Like if I'm reading a novel, I want it to be written by a human. But if I'm reading like a financial report or like an annual report of a company, I really don't care who wrote it. I just care that it's accurate. And if somebody signed off on it, then I'm okay with it. So it depends.
I think, Lukman, fundamental of rebuilding trust or build trust with the audience is that's our guideline in our Jiwa, or guideline in the use of AI in a newsroom. You have to be transparent. Even though it's not popular, even though it will be hated by the society, but you have to be transparent to your audience. Say, for example, that's why I think that's the area that the audience will appreciate that more. Especially because we are not creating the full generated content, but it helps in terms of strengthening the content or strengthening the journalistic product. I think that's why it is important, it is pertinent for us to actually put a label to it in order for us to make sure that the public trust is paramount. So it's on top of everything else, yeah.
Sorry, so out of 20, then 17 you're working through. But 3 are, we do road stuff in, in news reporting, right? There are some things that just, you have to put out there anyway. Yeah, so if, in addition to where the AI was used, for example, churning the visualization or synopsis or something like that, I think there are also ways in which we can be fair to the companies, because sometimes you need to use that, and also to the readers, to be transparent to the readers. Again, I think if it's 19 out of 20, I'm wondering like what news organization is your aggregator lah in that sense, kan?
Yeah. Because we have one news aggregator in Japan whose content is 100% aggregated by AI, and they're actually doing quite well. So I wonder whether there's a societal difference as well. But I do take note of your point, Dr. Gaya. And ma'am, you want to weigh in just now?
Everybody is talking about the challenge and the worry about the different generation, and we have different generation in the room. But I'll get back to what Dr. Gaya said earlier. AI is a tool to strengthen journalism, not to replace. So being a journalism teacher, I would say that my worry is a bit low on this, because anyhow, AI is a tool. But what I can say is AI is a complement to journalism, where, for instance, talking about the 7 seconds video again. So, what can we raise up a question? So, what can we show on Gaza in 7 seconds? But my experience in my class on this AI and the 7 second, 30 seconds, the reels on Gaza, actually, that short clips will drive students, the young people, the Gen Z, to have more access on the research on what happened in Gaza. For instance, the generation now, they don't really know what happened during the Nakba event and whatnot. They only know what happened on 7 October. So with the short clips, actually will drive them to read more, to have more research on what is happening between Palestine and Israel. And I can say in all contexts, even in local context. So I think we have to acknowledge the AI as tools. As I said, it complement to journalism, because from that, what I can say that daripada we don't know about what happening in Gaza, that 7 second, that 30 second clips will actually be the highlight for these people to really dive into what is happening, what is the conflict is all about. And of course, the information is not wide for them to look at that clip. So what they do is they go and do more research on what is happening. So reading the context of the events actually comes from the help of AI with the short clip study lah. So I think in the context of journalism, it complements the tools and also the journalistic way of reporting. They do more work, and all the information, because I was telling colleagues here just now, okay, for example, talking about journalism, my priority is for the young people to know history. And these people, the young people, we always have the mindset of they are the generation who do not read, but actually they read, but not from the books, maybe. They read from the internet, they read from online sources. So what I can do, what I do with my young people, my students is give a topic, give a case study. For instance, the history of Mamali, Operasi Lalang dan sebagainya. So they don't know about these events because not their generation, and they don't really go into books to read all this. So the case study that we spark to the young people, they will go back to the AI, the ChatGPT or Gemini and whatnot, to get the information. What is this event is all about? So that's why I would say AI is the complement journalism in the context of way of writing. That's what I can see on AI as a tool for young people, the Gen Z.
This is an edited version of the Roundtable. Responses have been abridged for broadcast purposes.